Namaste, Sangha. I hope you are well. I have been transitioning back to life in the UK, having been abroad in Mexico for the last month, and been a video that I've been wanting to make for a really, really long time, for quite a few weeks now, since I've been away. And there's nothing like a good challenge to really bring everything to light. So, the challenge for me is of transitioning back to the UK. And I have definitely noticed, observed parts of me coming up that I haven't seen, I haven't met for a while. Parts of me that are really finding the transition really challenging. It's darker earlier, there's less light in the day. There actually hasn't been any sun out since I got here, and coming from Mexico, that's been really challenging. And what I'm witnessing in myself right now are parts that really have really been struggled, really found it difficult to motivate themselves. And I thought, well, this is a perfect opportunity to come and talk about this idea of witnessing, which I've wanted to talk about for a while. Those of you that know a little bit about the work that I do might know that I support people through deep dive healing journeys, bringing together trauma informed holistic modalities to help people really meet themselves at that fundamental level, and to discharge and transmute that energy of karma and of trauma, to be free and liberated from it once and for all. And there is a part of the healing journey which I'm going to label witnessing, which is a very overlooked part of the journey. Now, in internal family systems, so it's one of the modalities that I work with, which is an evidence-based talking therapy, trauma-informed talking therapy that was brought about by Richard Schwartz. In this system of deep healing, we recognize that witnessing is pretty much one of the final and most integral components of healing from trauma. Because at this stage, we're doing exactly what it says on the tin. We are literally witnessing that energy within us, those burdens that we've been carrying, that karma, that story, that trauma, however you want to describe it, we are witnessing the energy of that, the burden of that, to come up and come out and be transmuted, essentially, and return back to nature. Now, some of the trauma or karma that we have, that we hold in our body, very easily will be transmuted or released or discharged through means by which we may not even realize. We may not even realize that we are discharging this stuff. So movement, expression, vocal expression, discharging directly into nature. These are just a few ways that we are always spontaneously unburdening ourselves of the karma and the trauma, this energy that we are carrying around, that is trapped often within our system. But some of that energy wants to be witnessed, and some of that energy wants to be witnessed often through memories, often through actually expressing or articulating that particular memory. And this is such an important part of the healing process, because these parts of us that are holding on to these energies feel that it's necessary that in order to release that once and for all and discharge and transmute that energy, that this has to come up and out and has to be witnessed. We have to hold that space to really acknowledge that this happened, acknowledge that this memory is there, acknowledge that this story is there. It is just a natural part of our process. So within internal family systems and also other modalities that I work with, I always incorporate this witnessing stage in our healing. And even if the witnessing isn't in itself a big show and a dance, it's something very subtle. It maybe doesn't take very long. It might even be a memory that isn't even fully quite there. It doesn't matter. The point is that part of us has had an opportunity to be seen, to be witnessed, while it is on its way out, while it is being discharged or it's being transmuted. Now, this is something that we don't necessarily need a therapist for, because as I said, a lot of the burdens that we carry are being spontaneously released and discharged all of the time. But what's really important is for us to bring that aspect of witnessing into our daily lives. Now, this is the crux. It is so easy to miss this, because very much of our default setting, our conditioning, is that when the going gets tough and when difficult memories come up, challenging sensations in the body arise, and then maybe through that in itself, it can be very overwhelming, perhaps breathing changes, or we feel an intensity of energy in the body. We might see something, a memory might be surfacing that is so painful and so uncomfortable. Our default setting is often to just look the other way, to ignore it, or to suppress it. This is what we've been taught to do. This is also a mechanism that we have taught ourselves to do in order to just cope with and deal with what we are going through on a day-to-day experience. And again, as I mentioned, this is the thing that we miss, because what is happening is these parts of us that are holding those burdens, those memories are surfacing up, those implicit and explicit memories. The explicit ones are like the visuals, and the implicit ones are more built into the body, and we just push it away. The key is to allow ourselves to really bear witness to what is arising. And if we just do that and just allow ourselves to sit with it, to use all of our tools of self-regulation in that moment, to be able to sit with what's arising, to bear witness to it, then this process of healing can complete itself. So again, I want to reiterate, this is something that is often overlooked. And it's often overlooked because it's a programmed response. But when the discomfort comes up, to push it away, to push it back down, to distract ourselves from it, to find something else to look at, to feel into. Okay? But this in itself is where the healing is going to happen, by bringing it into our field, by bearing witness to it, by acknowledging what we're seeing and what we're feeling, and allow the natural process of healing to occur. Now, sometimes this witnessing process or phase can be quite a long time. Sometimes it can be a matter of days or weeks or months even, where we feel like we are just left with these uncomfortable feelings, or we have these memories resurfacing. If we are consciously bearing witness, then just trust that it's going to just take whatever time that it takes, and the time will come whereby the healing comes to completion. When you are consciously aware, this is in itself the healing process. When we are not aware and we are sat with these memories, implicit or explicit memories, coming up and just resurfacing and going over and over again, and we're not conscious and we're finding different ways of moving ourselves away from it, that is not necessarily taking ourselves into the process of healing in the way that really holding space and sitting with it and allowing ourselves to bear witness is indulging in the process of healing. So I really wanted to share this because I really believe that we are at a time of just incredible, incredible witnessing. So much is being churned up in the collective human psyche, in the collective human consciousness. We're on the cusp of this battle, this play, this dance of the yin and the yang, the light and the dark. We are very much here to bear witness to our collective trauma, our collective burden. And again, it's important for us to move into this with grace, to welcome this in, to acknowledge, to bear witness to these collective tragedies, to this collective burden that we are all holding, that we have all journeyed through multiple lives to hold, to get to this point, to bear witness and to allow it to release and to allow humanity to be liberated once and for all. So as the macro is always reflected in the micro is always reflected in the macro. What we witness with ourselves, the way that we work, the way that we unravel, the way that we heal is also the way that it is for the macro, for society, for humanity. So I just implore you at this time to really bear witness to the shifts that are happening out in society and to all of this murky, muddy shadow that absolutely has to come up in order to be witnessed. And hold it with love, hold it with kindness, and hold it with grace, and remember that we are all in this together, bearing witness together in this lifetime. I hope that you found this useful. I'm so glad I shared it after so long. Please leave your comments and let me know if this touched you in any way. Hold tight, dear divine ones. Sending you love and blessings.